And so we have our last speaker. He is the owner of Blue Collar Grind, and I say he is helping people live longer lives with what he does. Without any more from me, I'll give you Orlando Johnson.
I honestly don't know why this man kept mentioning me, making me nervous. But I want to spend my time sharing this story of a man and his choices when confronting his own weaknesses. This man was a cook at the Waffle House for 15 plus years. In his personal life, he enjoyed drinking and fishing a lot. He stayed with his mom, and living there, he slept on the couch. To be frank, he was what they called a neighborhood drunk. Alcohol had such a stronghold on this man's life that they found him outside asleep, covered in leaves. Now, of course, different people at different times tried to encourage change in this man, but he wasn't hearing it, so no luck with that. So one day his middle son caught him sober. He felt like, that would be a good time to talk to him and to evoke how he feels, because, talking with someone intoxicated is a strong possibility. They may not remember that. So he proceeded with saying, why don't you just stop drinking and get a better job? Mainly setting aside his pride and poured his entire heart out. The next 7 words will be a moment that echoed still for the middle son when his dad offered the excuse. You'll see. You'll see, son. You'll see. Listen, guys, I apologize. I totally apologize. Where's my head? I just jumped right into my story and not properly introduced myself. As Rashawn said, I'm Orlando Johnson. I run Blue Collar Grind and home personal training. I like to think that I fought against, sharks and whales and squids and things of that nature, because I'm married to one of the rarest gemstones you can find. A black pearl. This guy told me, I never did the research, but this guy told me you have to go to the deepest part of the sea to get to a black pearl. And I'm thinking to myself, if I had to do all that for this woman, I'm black. Let's state the obvious. Me stepping in that water, the minute I feel seaweed, I'm panicking. I'm gonna let them have that, But on top of that, man, we have 3 beautiful kids together. 3 beautiful kids together, 12, 10, and a newborn. So that kind of should show you why I lost my head in the beginning. I ain't had much sleep. But I'm originally from Georgia, for those of you who didn't catch that southern accent. But we've been here for about 3 years now. I'm grateful to say Columbus, Ohio is home now. So now that I kind of pushed past that sleep deprivation and caught myself, I would like to finish telling you the story of the Waffle House cook. At the age of 43, he succumbed to a brain aneurysm. Still working at the Waffle House, still sleeping on his mother's couch, still the neighborhood drunk. That man was my father. I'm his middle son. Those 7 words my father left me in that rare sober moment follow me still. You'll see. You'll see, son. You'll see. So back in 2009, I spent about a half a year sleeping on my brother's couch in his dorm room in Albany, Georgia. While I was sleeping on that couch, I dreamt I played for a Blue Helmet football team. So I decided to go online, look for the top 5 junior colleges, because I graduated at the lowest of my class. I barely got through. I graduated out of people peripheral. They barely saw me, So I barely graduated high school. I didn't have the grades to go D1. So I filled that application, sent them off. The schools, all of them denied me except one. And it happened to be a Blue Helmet football team, Snow College in Utah. I remember struggling just to come up with $200. Now I'm gonna implement you. I remember giving him the $200 so he could use his card to swipe it. And I took flight. I'm talking about perseverance. I only had $20 to my name. You'll see. You'll see. No, I refuse to hear it this time. Reed Wilson wrote the book, Stopping the Noise in Your Head. He quoted, "Stopping the noise in your head demonstrates the importance of taking control of our lives." That echo wasn't enough. it wasn't enough to discourage me from this journey, from this dream I was getting ready to walk into. Not this time. So, walking in the first semester, word around school, next month is football trials. Next month came around, I walked on to the team. I walked out, I made the team. On top of that, I excelled academically. Second semester came, I received a scholarship. I'm talking about coming from where I'm coming from, small town, Thompson, Georgia, population, 6,000 people. The only way to live is sell drugs or rob. That's a whole nother story. Or get a factory job. So, excuse me, mouth getting kind of dry, I'm sorry. Or get a factory job. Excuse me, guys. So after that, that wasn't the only thing I received. I received a phone call saying my dad passed out at work. They had to rush him to the hospital to perform emergency surgery. He had a blood clot in his brain. In spite of the excuse and his alcoholism, that's my dad. I loved him. We had that bond regardless. I seen him every day. So they performed the surgery. Next morning, my sister called me. I'm sorry, he pulled through the first surgery. He pulled through the surgery. Next morning, my sister called me. With him on three-way, we engaged in a small talk. He couldn't say much considering his condition. He just had surgery. All of a sudden, the call dropped. I didn't think much of it. You know, just bad reception on my sister, and she did call me on three-way. All of a sudden, I think it was the night before, the next morning, he had a stroke. They had to put him on life support. And you know, when they put you on life support, in order for them to take you off, you have to progress. And he was regressing, so he left his mom with a decision to make, to pull the plug on him. So third semester come around. To be honest with you, I got comfortable. It had nothing to do with the passing of my dad. I feel like if I said that, that would be an excuse. I failed to go to class, a little bit embarrassed to say I started dabbing back into old drug habits. As a result, I flunked out. Metaphorically speaking, I was walking backwards. You'll see. You'll see, son. You'll see. I was told you can judge the strength of a man by how he stands when his world come crashing down on him. So, I had no reason to continue to fight. I felt that trying to prove to the people that doubted me wrong, turns out that was right. And my motives was wrong. So what I want to throw in there for everybody that desire a business, check your motives. Who are you in it for? So make sure your motives are right. Being that my motives was wrong, it led me to be embarrassed. I couldn't go back home. I didn't want to face that music. So I decided to move to Tennessee with my best friend and his wife, where I slept on the couch. What is that saying? If it walked like a duck and it quacked like a duck, then it's a what? Yeah. Are y'all telling me y'all look just like my dad? At least that's what I'm face to face with in the mirror. I don't know what it was back then when sleeping on couches and dreams. On that couch I dreamt I played for University of Michigan. You OSU fans, y'all don't have anything to worry about.
They need you.
Yeah, I dreamt I played for University of Michigan. I didn't have, obviously, looking at my past, I didn't have the grades. Nor I was down on my luck. I didn't even have the money. The only valuable thing I had was that gold chain my mom let me wear before I went off to Utah. And she made it her business to tell me, son, make sure you give me that gold chain back whenever you come back from school. Even with that in mind, I pondered. I had to eat. I couldn't live off of them. They was barely getting by in college. They college students. So after filling out multiple applications, I finally get a job at a factory, blue collar. They paid me pretty good. I excelled amongst the workers that was there. On top of that, I took, in my mind, everything that I put my hands on, I take ownership. This business is my business, regardless of who owns it. I took ownership. Work ethic, come on, I come from a football background. Hard work, where? Who? This is easy work. This is easy work. So, my best friend and his wife, we all came together. We decided to discuss our living arrangements and move into a bigger place. So we did that. I'm a dead man walking. I'm just going through the motions of life. So one day I met this woman. She was in school and working with 2 boys. I think there was 3 or 5 at the time, if I'm not mistaken. She and I got involved almost on the everyday basis, because I still had a situation I was juggling. So one day she told me, she said, God said, you're gonna be my husband. I'm gonna be honest with you, I laughed. In my mind, she didn't hear it. I was just like, God has a sense of humor, don't he? You know? But, so as the weekend approached, she decided to take her boys to get some get education on Martin Luther King in Atlanta. I have a dream. I had a dream that same weekend too. I decided I'm gonna go out to the club. This weekend. You know, as soon as I get into the club, I locate the bar, get me a drink. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm gonna do something totally different tonight. I'm gonna dance. I don't usually do that. That's out of character for me. So that drink didn't sneak up on me yet. I go back to the bar, I get another drink. Now it's like I'm playing double dutch with the dance floor. I'm like this. Oh my God, okay, it done hit me. Oh, it done hit me yet. So I'm back at the bar again. This time I decide I'm gonna walk around. So I did that. 15 minutes later, the turtle still didn't come out of the shell. So I'm back at the bar. Long story short, I abused alcohol that night. I can remember vividly leaving the club in my best friend Cutlass, waking up to a knock on the window. Sir, I swear to you, the way it sounded, it was like a dream. Sir, have you been drinking? I open my eyes, I look to the side past the officer. I see skid marks in the road. I see the stop sign knocked down. I'm in a ditch all while the car's still running and I'm asleep. I said in my head, oh, this is definitely a dream. I closed my eyes while the officer right there. He knocked on the window again. Sir, step out of the vehicle. I step out of the vehicle just to see the tires on the car completely destroyed. He says, turn around. I turn around. Click, click. I was charged with a DUI. You'll see. You'll see, son. You'll see. It's almost like I'm fighting the grave. I can't shake whatever this is on my life. Lord, I need help. I'm crying out. I didn't have that structural man in my life. I came from a broken home. These are the things this is what I know. I fumbled everything that I dreamt of doing, which was football. That's all we know. I fumbled with that. I fumbled. I lost it. So as the weekend approaches, she and her boys come back from Atlanta from the brief education. We pick up where we left off. We get back involved again. I'm still the dead man walking. Even now I'm deeper, lost into this hypnotizing motion of life that I allowed it to control me. Now I decide I'm gonna get her boys involved. I'm senseless, just going through the motion. I didn't know I was getting them involved. So I got so involved in their life, I was taking them back and forth to school, daycare. They would get sick, they stay with me all while she would probably be at school at work. So one day I decide I go pick the boys up from daycare. The 3-year-old was the first one to run around the corner. When he saw me, his eyes just lit up. As I was signing him out, I can remember him tapping me, looking up to me. He said, "Can I call you Dad?" All of my friends call their friends Dad. It broke me. It woke me up. It shook me so good. When I woke up, I was faced with this decision to make. Life or death. Death is me just going through the motions. Life. In life, I got this chance to fight. To break this cycle of hurt. Fight for not only myself, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than me now. So, after all of that, man, this guy quoted, I don't know who it was, I read it online. He said, happiness doesn't come through selfishness, but through selflessness. Every single thing you do, I repeat, every single thing you do comes back around. Comes back around. So in retrospect, it's funny. It's funny how God shows you things. Let's rewind back to when I was sleeping on my best friend's couch. And I dreamt I played for University of Michigan. Now, like I said, I never went to play for University of Michigan, but it's a piece of that dream that still sticks with me. That woman and those 2 kids, I'm just blessed to say I no longer make stupid decisions. I'm living that dream. I choose life. I choose happiness. I choose to fight for something that's greater than me. I choose to do that. That's what it's about. Anytime you desire to go into business or whatever it is, college, whatever it is, it has to be greater than you. The reason, the why, it has to be greater than you.
Yeah.
So, today's discussions has ultimately revolved around turning your strengths, your weaknesses into strengths. Even though I had environmental factors, and I also had sneaky genetics trying to throw obstacles in my path. So with you guys today, man, I would like to say to my dad, even though I know it was hard to overcome those obstacles you was faced with, and I thank you by teaching me in contrast how to overcome mine. I smile when I look at myself in the mirror because I see you. I see you. But I choose life. I choose to keep fighting. And I know you watching. Just keep watching. You'll see. You'll see, Dad. You'll see. I just want to thank you guys for the time.